that one of the things you've been wanting to do is find an easier way to manage your small groups and have breakout sessions with your students, but the extensions haven't always been working and there just isn't an easy way. Well, I have found an easier way to manage this with, believe it or not, Google Classroom. So one of the things you really, really need are secure links that we know the students can't get into unless there's a teacher there. But if we were using a nicknamed Meet, that link would expire, so you'd have to create it each day. So by using Google Classroom, we know that we're going to get a secure link that students can't get into unless you're there or another adult is there, and a link that's not going to expire unless you choose to reset it. Let me show you how this works. As you can see here in Google Classroom, I've already created 3 classes. I'm going to go ahead and create another class by clicking the plus sign. And create it here. Now I have 4 groups. Your students do not have to be a member of your Google Classroom in order to use the link in Google Classroom. I repeat, your students do not have to be a member of the Google Classroom to use this Google Meet link. All right, so in order to generate the link, you're going to click up here, click Generate Meet Link, and we're going to save that. This is now your permanent link for this group 4. So it won't change unless you choose to change it in the settings. And again, your students can't get into this unless you or another adult are in the Meet. So now what you can do is you can use this link, copy and paste it anywhere you need for your students to join this group. So for example, I could copy this address and come over to my pathway. And maybe I could say group 4 needs to meet in that group, and I would simply paste it into my picture and click apply. So now at 12 o'clock, these students would click here to meet the teacher in the Google Meet. I could do the same by coming over and grabbing the link from group 3, and I can add this in here, and so on and so on. I can continue to go through all of the groups to do this. Now, another option, if you're a teacher who has a TA, maybe instead of you creating the Meet link or the Google Classroom, your TA could create the Google Classroom, so they would have a unique URL for students to meet them at. Again, the only reason we're doing it this way is so that way you have a permanent Meet link that you can always use for students to get to, but also that is secure so they can't get to it at any other time unless you want them to be there. So an option, again, would be your TAs could create these Google Classrooms, or you could create it and add them as a co-teacher. They don't even need to be a co-teacher because, again, you don't have to be a member of the Google Classroom to access these Google Meets. You just have to have the URL. So that's what we're using these Google Classrooms for. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you need to change that code, you would just go to settings and you would come over here, drop down, and you would click reset, and it would give you a new URL for that same group, and you would just have to change it wherever you have it pasted. And that is how you can use Google Classroom to create small groups and breakouts in your pathways with your students.